It's me. Wonderful. I'm here today to have a little chat about having an IBD and having a flare. So I have Crohn's. A lot of my flares are linked to food. This is not always the case. There are lots of people who don't have any issue with any kind of food, and honestly I'm fucking jealous. Fuck you, get out of here. Not kidding. But there are some general tips, and also something that we all should do as people with an IBD, or people with IBS, or people with weird like gastro problems, you know, like something that's not quite right. There is a lot of info online that I do recommend that you look into. If you can, see a dietitian/nutritionist. They know the nutrition stuff, which I don't know, so we aren't all the same. And that'd be it. I've known for a few years now, even before I was diagnosed, that I have an intolerance to lactose, to dairy. And it's kind of developed from like a mild, tummy rumbles to, wow, I literally can't eat dairy, otherwise I'm going to be in agony on the toilet for hours and hours and hours, possibly even days. So that's my relationship to dairy, but it can also be anything like wheat or any other kind of allergies or intolerances that people have. Anything that can have a laxative effect is also a possibility for triggering flares. There was a point where I couldn't drink caffeine, or I could only have 1 cup because I would just then not stop shitting, and that was it. Like, I can again now. Like, my tolerances like changes a bit for a lot of stuff. Like, some days I can literally drink like 7 cups of tea or coffee or whatever, and I'm fine. Like, probably have diarrhea because you really shouldn't drink that much coffee. But I'll be okay, whereas there are other days where I can't have a cup. But then at the point I am right now, I can have like a couple of cups of tea or coffee, and actually I tend to drink it at the moment as part of like my trying to get my gut going because of medications I'm on and off of at the moment since some surgery. This is a sexy video. Something I've noticed is that lots of people get sort of grumbly stomachs. For the most part, it's nothing. You're completely fine. It is literally either just gas or food moving through your digestive system. It means your body's doing what it's supposed to do. You're fine. Don't worry about it, okay? Just with us, it's going to be louder, most likely. Even my mum has loud like digestion, and she hasn't got anything wrong with her. So don't worry about it. It might just be a bit embarrassing, but eventually you just got to get over it. So don't worry. You're fine. That's the point. That's the main thing. You're okay. You've just got a loud, grumbly belly. I have some foods that aggravate gases and just make me gassier. From one end or the other makes me gassier. So I either avoid like fizzy drinks or I stir the fizz out of them a lot. I do that a lot because, bitch, sometimes I just want a Diet Coke or a fucking cider, right? Because I have no other issues with these things, just that the bubbles make me really painfully gassy sometimes, you know. And things like, I call them the farty vegetables, but everyone still asks what I'm talking about. And I don't know how people don't know, but people don't know. So things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels, like beans, pulses, I don't know. Like things that are known to just make you fart more, you know? Like there's this whole thing about Brussels sprouts make you fart, or baked beans make you fart. Well, they make me fart. They have a more aggressive effect on me than they do most other people. So that's also something to look out for, because sometimes it's really uncomfortable. If you eat too much of that stuff, you'll get trapped wind, which is the worst. That is real painful. So the way I kind of like figured it out, and I think a lot of people like to do this as well, is keeping a food diary. Like I had the absolute most basic diary. You can make your own, or you can buy one. They're fucking everywhere. They're like pretty trendy at the moment, which is kind of useful when you have a chronic illness, something that you kind of need becoming trendy so that it's accessible and cheap. it's useful to cut out things and see how you're doing. And it's useful to know when you cut something out or know when you've eaten it, to be able to say to a doctor, I think I triggered my flare from eating this food on this day because I started to feel ill at this time. You know, the more info you can give your doctors and that, the more helpful it is, because they don't know you, they don't know what you're doing, and it's just, you know, at least you can say, look, I think I fucked up and ate something I shouldn't have eaten. Like, I gave myself a flare sometime in like October, November, I'm not really sure, I can't remember. I gave myself a flare because I ate something I shouldn't have eaten, but I didn't realise it had ingredients in that I could not eat. Dairy, basically, you know. Hi. And I am not very strict on how or what I write exactly, because I am also trying to recover from eating disorder. You know, having something like Crohn's is really fun when you've had an eating disorder, because you can't eat certain foods. When you're on steroids, you can't stop eating food. And then when you lose weight, it's probably a really bad thing. So, love that. So I don't look at calories. I just try to go with how I feel. I do a lot based on medication, like meds I take in the morning, especially my mercaptopurine, which is an immunosuppressant that I take for Crohn's. You should take it an hour before eating, and especially an hour before eating or consuming anything with dairy in, because there's a chemical in it that prevents it from working. So even though my dairy is lactose free, it's still dairy and will probably still have that chemical in. So just something for you to think about if you're also on mercaptopurine. Or the other way around, you have to take your mercaptopurine 3 hours after you've eaten. So which one's easier? Honestly, waiting an hour after I've woken up. I also just kind of write down what I've eaten. Nothing, no weight of what it is, no calories, none of that. Too triggering, honestly. And I just don't think it's that helpful. When it comes to Crohn's or colitis, if it's anything to do with what you're eating, you mostly just need to make sure you know what you've eaten that day, so you can refer back if you start getting symptoms. Because I will tend to get symptoms roughly about an hour after I've eaten something. Sometimes quicker, depending on what it is. Sometimes a bit longer, sometimes it'll be the next day. So I have to go back and look at what I've eaten and see what's different that day versus other days. Obviously I don't eat the same thing every day, but I've gotten to the point where most of the food I eat, pretty much all the food I eat, will not bother my stomach in any way. That's also because I was food diarrheaing for friggin' ages. The other thing I learned was that I was not eating vegetables or fruit, because my favourite vegetables are the ones that make you fart. I love me broccoli. Love me broccoli. I love baked beans. You know, I was only really eating vegetables if I went out, because, you know, most things come with a salad, and I'll shove the salad stuff in my burger or whatever, you know. So that was really helpful to see. I was not eating vegetables or fruit. So I was like, right, I've got to start actually eating portions of fruit and vegetables, because I might be taking a daily vitamin, like daily multivitamin. It's still better to eat the real thing, you know? So that's very important. And it shows you how often and how much you exercise too, and how much and how often you drink. I am a big drinker. Literally got my bottle of water down here. I will drink a lot of water anyway, but if I've noticed something I've eaten has given me really bad diarrhea, I know it ain't just me, you know, I will drink even more water, because I'll have lost so much fluids. Basically, having diarrhea can dehydrate you and make you malnourished, because nothing is being soaked up properly, because it just goes straight through. So I also have a selection of vitamins and pills that I take depending on how I'm feeling, depending on what my diet's like, you know, all that sort of thing. I take coconut oil tablets, which is a good way to get healthy fats, I have turmeric tablets, which is a really good anti-inflammatory. I mean, mate, ain't we all inflamed? A daily multivitamin. Most of the time, I've kind of gone off that for a while. Same with a daily magnesium. You need magnesium in pretty much every single body function inside you, and most people are deficient. So honestly, you might as well, or at least try to eat more foods like that, you know. But because a lot of us can be limited on the food we can eat, sometimes it's just easier to just take a fucking pill, you know. I also have vitamin C tablets. I mean, I have loads of other fucking pills too. I'm on iron tablets at the moment, but that's a prescription. Probiotics, especially if you've, like me, been on and off antibiotics. You need probiotics to be put back into your system after antibiotics, and a lot of probiotics come from yogurt, which I can't really eat unless I get lactose-free. You know, again, sometimes it's just easier to take some pills. So I really recommend having like a stock of stuff. I've been pretty lucky when it comes to deficiencies. I've only really had the deficiency of iron and become a bit anemic, and I've luckily not become had any kind of malnourishment, blah blah blah. So my stomach is at least absorbing the pills I'm putting in, so I've not had to do any other weird things or have shakes and stuff like that. My general gist of this video was just to talk about, you know, things that help me, things that generally should help people, but I really want to put it out there that it's not one size fits all, you know. That doesn't exist, even in clothes, doesn't exist. People will try to tell you that this works for everyone, whether they are someone who is sick or someone who is treating you. There are people who will say this works for everybody, but nothing works for everybody, ever. And the most important thing for you to do is to do your own research, do your own, you know, testing, trialing, cutting things out, putting things back into your diet, things like that. Because as well, our tolerances change. Like I said earlier in the video, mine go up and down for lots of things. At one point I really thought I wouldn't be able to have caffeine ever again. You have to find out what it is that upsets your body and come to terms with what you need to do to give yourself the best shot of feeling your best. You know, I don't like the feel better, get better, you know, because it's for life. At this moment in time, there is no cure. Crohn's, Tim. There is no cure right now. So what we have is for life. I know I'm saying this really cheerily. Don't worry, I'm also really depressed about it. I'm just a really good actor. It's taken me 6 months roughly to kind of get to a point where I'm kind of like, okay, I feel like I could maybe live like this. Because it's taken that long for my body to kind of come to like a leveling out stage. Leveled out. I know what foods to touch and what not to touch. I know what pills I should and shouldn't be taking currently. I know that if I feel a bit shit or bloated or whatever, I know what to take for that symptom, because a lot of it is symptom management rather than curing the disease or curing anything. It's all symptom management. And you know, don't let anybody tell you you can't eat something or that you can eat something. I'm on 2 Facebook support groups with people from all over the world. Not all people with an IBD. Sometimes it's parents of children with an IBD. I read a story recently about a woman whose daughter was put on some shakes because she'd gotten so unwell, and they were given to her even though she has lactose intolerance, and they said she'd be fine because there's such little lactose in them. And she wasn't. Lo and behold, she fucking wasn't. Like, I can't eat crisps. Crisps have milk in. I can't eat crisps. That can't have a lot of dairy in, you know? Packet crisps. Gives me the fucking shits. I can't eat dairy. Don't let someone pressure you. Don't even let medical professionals pressure you. Don't let other people with the disease pressure you. I've been pressured into numerous medications already in 6 months. Luckily one of them is working, and luckily the other one I never went on because I had to have surgery. You know, and I had an argument with a man who said that you can't eat nuts if you're really unwell. He told me that my Crohn's was mild, even though I had erythema nodosum several months
I think what? No, actually, 6 weeks into my diagnosis, everything when I dose them ain't common. Like, even in Crohn's, it ain't common. And it was horrendous. That was literally the worst pain I've ever been in my fucking life. And then I had a fucking abscess that I had to have surgery for a few months later. How is that mild? Fuck you. I can't eat certain foods already. I can eat nuts. Don't fucking tell me I can't. So the moral of the story is, find out what works for you, and that's it. I just want people to know that you don't have to do anything that anybody tells you to do. If whatever you're doing right now is working for you, then sick. Keep doing that. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because nobody knows your body better than you do. You're the one who lives in your body. You are the expert on your body. You may not be a medical expert, but you are the expert on you, and that be it. We don't get taught how to, stand up for ourselves to doctors. So this is me teaching you to stand up for yourself to doctors. Okay, love you guys, bye. I hope you like this video. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know if this was helpful, whether you have an IBD or not. If you have a loved one with IBD and this has helped you understand some stuff more. Nice, cool, let me know. I want to know. I'd like to know if this is helpful. And leave a like, that'd be great. Analytics and all. And subscribe, because I do talk about Crohn's. So, let me know. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next week. Bye.